Thanks, everyone. Like Justin said, I'm James Tryon, and today we're going to be going over LearnDash and Elementor Pro. I'm James Tryon. I'm the LearnDash training specialist. I've been using WordPress since 2007. I'm the lead organizer of WordCamp Orlando 2020 this year. Should be getting some new news out about that shortly, hopefully. I'm the ambassador of Wapoos, which is the mascot of WordPress, and family and all that stuff is wonderful. I'm really excited about today, so I don't want to waste too much time on all the slides. We're talking about the Elementor and the new Elementor integration with LearnDash. So today I want to try to go through these slides as fast as I can, and then I want to show everyone what we're going to try to build, and then I want to spend the remaining of the time building it. Feel free to ask questions as we go. I'm going to try to go over as much as we can, and there's going to be a lot of info here. So what we're going to go over, installing and setting up Elementor with LearnDash, the Elementor LearnDash integration. We're going to be reviewing the new template functionality, the new Elementor LearnDash widgets, and some helpful tips along the way. Requirements for what we're going to be doing today. You need LearnDash, Elementor Pro, and Elementor, and the LearnDash integration plugin. So you actually need 4 plugins. I forgot the actual base Elementor plugin. What's nice to have is you don't need these things, but is the Astra starter theme, the starter template plugin, and the LearnDash Academy template site imported. You don't need those things. What we're going to go over today will work with almost any plugin, almost any theme that's to current web standards. So to start, you have to install the LearnDash integration, the Elementor integration for LearnDash. If you have an active install, you can go to your settings, add-ons. So if you go to your admin, go to LearnDash menu, you go to add-ons, and if you have an active install license, you can click check update if you don't see it, and it's going to pull in the add-on. So you can click activate and install it. If for some reason you cannot install a plugin from your site, you're on a host that has maybe no SFTP or uses Git to add plugins, you can definitely download the plugin through the support documents. As long as you're logged in to your support site, you can go to our documentation and download it from there as well. So you can download it from us directly, or you can activate it and install it through the add-ons menu. Once you have the Elementor widget installed, you have to enable it for the custom post types that you want it to use. By default, it's post and pages. I've gone in and turned it on for products, but we're not going to go over products today. I also turned it on for courses, lessons, topics, and quizzes. Again, this is in our settings. So you would go to Elementor Settings, and you would make sure you've actually turned on the new elements that are corresponding to LearnDash. The new elements that you get are 4 custom templates that you can use in Elementor to replace any of the current default ones, which are courses, lessons, topics, and quizzes. And this is what they look like. So once you've enabled it through this setting, so you would make sure you have them turned on for your LearnDash custom post types. You would come over here to your theme builder, and you now have 4 new templates to start with. And you can also see at the top of the screen, you're going to see single courses, single lessons, single topics, and quizzes. So you can have multiple of these, and we'll go over all of this a little bit later about conditional logic and how to show and hide these based off maybe categories or courses or even authors. So you can set it up however you would like. We'll go over that a little later. But you can see here are the 4 base ones.
And just to clarify for those that may be a little confused, we're going to be jumping in between LearnDash and Elementor. This is Elementor that you're seeing here. So the integration that we created, there's no real settings page for that particular integration. It just makes LearnDash and Elementor and the features that James is about to show work a little bit more smoothly. So this page here, this is where you can now select courses, lessons, topics, quizzes. That's what our integration allows for. This is in Elementor, not in LearnDash. And then that following settings page was in Elementor as well. So this is the templates theme builder feature in Elementor Pro. Is that correct, James?
I'm not sure if it's Elementor or Elementor Pro, but I'd have to check on that because I've been using Elementor Pro for so long that I forgot which are the basic features.
Got it.
So,
well, not LearnDash is the point. It's not a LearnDash setting. So
yeah.
now we're, yep. Okay.
Yeah, good point. Sorry about that. I got a little excited about all this. So the fun thing is, it's actually very little integration needed. There's no setup besides the customization. You just make sure that you're enabling it here, and the rest of it is your creativity and how far you want to take it. Yeah, this is, we'll keep going. So in order to create your own custom template, you're going to be using features. Now, WordPress uses something called widgets, but Elementor calls their components widgets. So if you're used to like Gutenberg, you've heard the term block. Well, Elementor calls them widgets. So you need to, with the addition of the integration, there's all of our old shortcodes and functional shortcodes have now been turned into widgets. And then you also have shortcodes. So you can use both and even more things and we'll get into a little bit later. But here's a whole list of all the new widgets and shortcodes that you can use. We're going to go over these as well in the next couple slides. So here's two screenshots of the LearnDash shortcodes. These will still work in any template that we're using, and you can leverage these with different elements and variables. So you can, sometimes you'll add different values to say, oh, I want this course or this ID, but that's not really what we're talking about right now. I just wanted to show that these will all still work. And again, what we're going to go over next is all these wonderful new widgets. And everything we're going over now, I am going to go over in the demo. So again, I'm trying to get through this a little fast so we can actually show everyone this in action. So the course template widget has three widgets that are made just for the course template. Now, any other widget and any other shortcodes will still work on this, and there is also some more generic widgets we'll go over at the end, like profile or maybe a list of all courses, like a course grid that you could use as well. But these are the ones that are made specifically for the course template, and they have unique functions as well, which we'll go over. It's the course content, the course info bar, and the course certificates. And this is the screenshot from the blog post, and you can see the course contents at the bottom. You have the course info bar, and then the course cert at the top. And you can see at the very top left, since we are on the certification template view, we have pulled any of the widgets that are unique to this view only up to the top. So if you look up here where you'll see LearnDash course elements, they're the ones that are unique just to courses. And the same thing would happen if you went to lessons or topic or quizzes. Any of those would show up that are specific to here. And then the rest of them are showing up that you can use generically throughout the entire site. And if you clicked on any of these, you would get the styling components that you're used to. And I would call this a pro tip, is any of your other add-ons that you're going to buy for Elementor, because Elementor is great, but buying a couple add-on packs is also really nice. So any of those add-on packs are also going to extend any of our built-in widgets. So if there's something that might control position a little more, or something that might give you more control over, let's say like Well, a lot of times I'll use them for scrolling, and I'll use them for uh, fancier images or breakpoints. So if you want to add those types of extra widgets, they're going to just extend the ones that we have. I should give you better examples. I wasn't prepared for that, but uh, all the ones that I do use would also work with our widgets as well. So let's go back. So next up is the lesson template widgets. So this is the lesson content in the lesson info bar. So the lesson content is the bottom, and the lesson info bar is the tan bar that says course 1, lesson 1 complete. The lesson content is just the post content. So whatever you would normally write before, and then you can control these things as well. I mean, you can control the color, the spacing, the size. And then for topics, they're the same: topic content and topic info bar. You get your navigation, your info bar. You can control over the size, the color, and I'm not sure what else. To be honest, I spent a lot of time on the course page because there's so much to do here, and I think we're going to end up doing a series. So I think what will happen is I'll come back and do an entire design video on how to make your topics and your lessons and quizzes much nicer than what we currently have. But I'm really excited about today. We're going to be going over the course page, and I don't want to say anything else about that for right now. But you can see the quizzes themselves: quiz content, quiz info bar, and these are the other widgets. So these can be used anywhere. It's the LearnDash login, profile, a course list, lesson list, topic list, quiz list. Now, these lists, think of these sort of like our course grids. These are going to show a list of those things. So if it's a courses or the user's courses, they'll show there. I think there's some parameters you can set on these as well. I would recommend looking at our documentation, and I have a link for that later on where to see all the documentation on the full use of all the shortcodes. So earlier when I said conditional logic, it means when will this template be used? So when we're setting a template like this and you hit save, the first time you hit save, Elementor is going to load up a page like this, a pop-up, and it's going to ask you, do you want to include this on courses, lessons, topics, or whatever it is? It's going to know what you originally started with, and it's going to ask you, do you want to save it to this or something else? And again, we'll play with this a little later and go over some different options, but you can actually make this, you can set a template unique to the course, to the author, to the category, a tag. There's really whatever you want to do. All the conditional logic that's built into anything else WordPress would do, this function allows you to also leverage. So here's some documentation on compatibility and integrating the Elementor plugin. So later on, my slides are going to be posted wherever the video is. If you click this link, it'll shock you. The first one will talk about installing it, which we've talked about earlier. This bottom one will talk about the differences between different page builders and how to use different elements of Elementor with LearnDash if you would like. Next up, we're going to talk about dynamic content. So there's two elements that we're going to talk about that are probably a little bit more advanced features of Elementor. One of them would be dynamic content, and the other one's actually a little bit more advanced feature of WordPress called custom fields. So we're going to leverage those in our design later, but I don't want to have to do any coding, and I want to make sure that we're sticking within the guidelines of using Elementor, Elementor Pro, LearnDash, and WordPress. So no actual coding for what we're going to be doing, but we will need to use dynamic content and custom fields. So what dynamic content is it lets you, let me just go to the next screen and maybe we can watch this, it lets you set an element inside Elementor, and then it lets you define what that element is dynamically through some other meta or element that's already tied to your post. So then you can then leverage that to make it dynamic. So you can style it one way, set up however you want, and then you can use that element to either pull in content or make it dynamic to be used in a loop. So we'll watch this one more time. They're going to set the site tagline, and it shows up on the title. And this is custom fields. So custom fields are a little old, but they're a really nice function to extend templating without having to do too much development work. You used to have to use like a key value system and actually develop out an entire child theme and use all your shortcodes to make this work, but you don't actually have to do that using dynamic content and custom fields, which is amazing. It makes it so much easier to do a lot of custom stuff without doing any custom coding. So I'm excited about that. I'll show it later, but this is what it looks like if you've ever seen this. I'll show everyone how to activate it. By default, it's not turned on. So you would have to go to your courses. And this, I believe you'd have to do this for several areas. So I think we had to do this for groups. I know we have to do it for quizzes, so just keep that in mind. Each of our sections are just going to have their own little settings. So when you go to courses, you would go to settings, you would scroll all the way down. Oh, by the way, I'm using the current version of everything. I'm on WordPress 5.5. I should have been more aware of this. These toggles look new to me. I don't remember if they're part of LearnDash or part of WordPress 5.5, but I have them collapsed right now so you can see everything on one screen. The edit area is at the very bottom. You would want to make sure you turn on custom fields. So you turn on custom fields and make sure your featured images are turned on. You hit save, and now you can leverage custom fields. Oh, and you have to make sure they're shown in your interface too. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over, you'll see these three little dots, and we'll do this in a live example, but the top right corner of your post, of your template, you'll see, I'm sorry, we're on the course. On the top right corner of the course, you'll see these three little dots. If you click those little dots, it'll say options at the very bottom, and you can see it here. It's a little, you can see the window underneath the window. It's layered pop-ups right now. It says options. You click options, and this pop-up shows up. When this pop-up shows up, you want to make sure you click custom fields. The first time you click custom fields, you're going to hit apply. When you hit apply, it's going to kind of refresh this page, and it's going to give you this view at the bottom of your course builder. And then you have your custom fields enabled. Okay? I know it's a little tricky, but we'll go over it, and I'll show everyone what the beauty of it and why I'm enabling that feature. Okay, so it's live demo time. Let me go ahead and close out of this, and I want to show everyone what we're going to be working on today. So there's been some talk over the past couple of days in our Facebook group about leveraging the Elementor elements and taking this a step further. And a lot of people like the Udemy style design, if you will. So what I wanted to do last night is spend a couple hours trying to recreate that. And the stipulations I had were no coding, no extra plugins, and I wanted to get it as close to the Udemy design as I could without spending more than, let's say, 3.5 hours on it. So that's where I'm at. So let's go ahead and close some of this stuff out of the way. Get this over here. And this is where I was looking at. This is our inspiration. And this is what we're going to be building the rest of the webinar. I was able to do this in about 3.5 hours. And I was even able to get the nice little sticky sidebar to work. And then with the custom fields in the dynamic content, we were able to get the headers here. I was able to pull in an excerpt. I was able to set up the video timeline, the downloadable files, and I'll make sure we show everyone how we're going to do all of this. But yeah, this is this is the new course layout I was able to do in about 3 hours with Elementor.
That's really slick, James. I think people will really love this. I know that there's been themes that leverage this kind of layout, and now it's possible with just Elementor and LearnDash, and you don't need to purchase a whole new theme in order to get this. So I'm excited to see how you went about it, and I'm sure other folks are too. I got a couple comments coming in saying it looks great and looks awesome. So well done. 3 hours, that's super impressive. So yeah, tell us how you did it.
Yeah, so let's go over that. So as you can see, okay, one thing I also want to do is I wanted to limit to not use WooCommerce. So probably the next webinar is going to be taking this to the next level by leveraging WooCommerce and tying in actual customer reviews and all that actual data from the WooCommerce product, because with WooCommerce, you get all the other shortcodes and widgets that you can then extend your sales funnel with. So I'm really excited about that one based on what I was able to accomplish without those. So yeah, the next one will probably be that, or maybe, I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to be able to extend this with WooCommerce as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll close this out of the way because this isn't really needed. And I'm going to come over here, and we're going to act like we haven't installed this. So I'm going to, from the very beginning, if I didn't install this, I would come over here to add-ons. I would make sure that I have the current updates checked. I would check for updates, and then I would click activate, or install now, and then activate. Once I had my Elementor add-on activated, I would come over to settings. I'm sorry, I'm going to come over to Elementor settings, and I'm going to make sure that my courses, lessons, topics, and quizzes are on for right now. And then I want to hit save. So that's the extent of the setup that I'm going to have to do from there. And then I'm going to go over to templates, and I'm going to go to template builder. From here, we can start editing a template. So what I'm going to do, I want to open the course one, but I also would like to start one from scratch just so we can sort of see what happens. So I'm going to hit add new. I want to say I want it to be a single course. This is going to be basic demo template. I want to create the template. I want to close this because I don't want to have to add anything here. And this is something I didn't notice before. And this is another pro tip, and we'll talk about it once we get more files, actually more elements into the page, but it's the navigation. So sometimes when you start changing the margins on things or the indexes, it's hard to click on elements in Elementor. And if you use this little navigation, it's going to allow you to jump between elements. It's probably a bad time to tell you that because it's going to be better. So I'll show everyone a little later when we have more elements in the page. But so let's go ahead and start creating some elements. So we're going to throw in this course info bar. We're just going to get some things on the page just to start. And I'm going to go back over here. And I want to click the course certificates. So we got two elements. So now you can see what I meant by clicking things around. They show up in the navigation. Okay, so what we want to do here is, let me go back, because this is a lot. So let's go ahead and look at the one I've already started so we can get a good idea of what we're trying to do. So it already happened. So I'm using Astra because Astra allows us to hide certain things and gives us a little bit more flexibility on top of the LearnDash Academy site, which is a fantastic tool if you're using the starter template. By using Astra, you also have the ability to hide and show breadcrumbs or primary headers or things like that. So I disabled the title earlier in order to not have it show up in the design. So let me go ahead and click edit here. And there's two main sections. You can see the yellow line. The yellow line is wrapped around this content area, and this content area is the actual course. So this comes from the course section. The wrapper is what we're editing here, and the wrapper is the template. So how that works is this is actually just the post content. So it's the post content block pulling in the actual content. So let me show you here. So this is the post content block, the widget from Elementor, and it's just going to pull in the content just like it would pull in any other content from if it was a blog post or a page. So that's why you can't actually edit this, but it's pulling it in dynamically. One other thing to check out is you can say settings here, and you want to say, well, I want to see all this page content, but it's not showing up right, or maybe it looks weird to you. So let me change this so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's say you load up your template, but it doesn't look right. You're like, well, that's not my course. That's weird. That's not set up correctly. So I can come over here. I can click preview or settings preview. I change it to the course because I'm changing the post type of which I want to preview this of. And then I start to type what I want. It's going to smart search. You need at least 3 letters. So you pick a course that's fully filled out that has all your content in it. Hit apply, and your content will actually show up there. So let's talk about a couple elements here. So I went ahead and added the header. I added a whole new row here. And let me do one thing so everyone can see how I pulled this off to separate the header from the body content. I'm going to load up my navigation, and we got the video content column. And I have a negative margin of 210. So I want to clear that just for right now so everyone can sort of see what I have going on. So I have a single row. I have the title. I have a plain text that I have pulling in with custom fields and dynamic content, which I'll go over in a second, and some other post meta. I wanted to pull up the sidebar to give that look. So I made another section and made the columns match the top columns, and then I set the negative margin on the right column to go up. So let's go ahead and show that again. So I'm clicking inside this column. This column here is this full width. I'm telling it that I only want this side of the column to be negative 210. Now, sometimes you might click it and it looks all funny like this. That's because it's setting all of them. If you click the chain icon, it lets you set them all independently. So that delinks them or links them to all the same. I set that to 210. Now it pulls it up a little bit. So that's a good start. But how do we do all these things? And I see a couple little errors that I want to fix. So the first error that I see without leaving the page is I see that this 2.5 hours, there's not a space like there should be in the rest of them. Now, I know I'm jumping around, but I'll be happy to answer any questions to make sure this is all documented. And I'm also happy to share this template when we're done if anyone wants it. But I don't necessarily want to guarantee it because it is just 3 hours of work. This is for demo purposes, and I wanted to just show what we can do quickly. So if I click the edit icon, I have a post info list. This post info list can be shown as a list or as a side by side. Since it's a smaller area, they're going to wrap anyways. The first one, it lets you set the icon, the text, or whatever you want it to be. So what I did was, as I said, I wanted it to be custom. By default, it's like the author title info, all the basic info that comes along with writing a post. I said I wanted it to be custom, and I said that I wanted it to pull from a custom field. Now, when I made the custom fields, I just pasted it in, and I could have also selected it from the menu. And then I come down to advanced, and then this lets me set if I want something before or after, or a fallback if something's missing. So because I need a little space, all I have to do is hit a space bar here. There's a space now. I can close this, and now that's fixed. But you're like, well, how did you get the 2.5? Well, that's a good question. Well, I'll show us how we get the 2.5. I have that set up again as a custom field in the settings, and it's custom video duration. This is the course. I'm going to hit edit course. And again, just to show everyone, we have the options. I clicked options. I made sure that the custom fields is turned on. And they show up under our course. So I have course video duration right here, and I said it's 2.5. So just for purposes of the demo, let's make a new one. So I want to say new. I want to say course. I want to say demo text, because this is just for purposes. This is for testing. I'm going to add custom field. I want to copy this so I have it for later. I want to hit update. I'm going to come back to Elementor. I want to hit update anyways. And I want to refresh the page. The reason I'm doing this is if I already had all of my elements done here first, and then I loaded Elementor, it would have known everything, and I wouldn't have had to just paste it in. But since I refreshed, it's also going to do a quick database search, and it's going to pull in all the most recent info. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new item. I want to say custom, and I want this to be post custom fields, and this is the custom demo text. And I could put something behind it or in front of it, you know, as you can see here, but I'll remove that. And I want to set an icon. So I want to say custom library, and this is an entire library of SVG icons. I can pick anything, set it, update it, and that will now be dynamic. Now, you will have to set that custom field on all your courses in order to make the template fully work. But what you could do is set a default here. So here's a fun example. So let's do this. Let's do let's do one more, and we'll call this course blank. We'll leave it blank on purpose. Let me save this. And I want to come back over here. I want to add another one. It's going to be custom. It's going to be custom fields and key. Since I copied it, I know it's there. Fallback. So that should pop up. And now it might because I haven't saved it. But the thing is, when you would fill out their template and you would use that in your course, it would then show up and remind you, hey, you didn't fill this out. You should fill this out. So not a big deal. And we'll go ahead and delete that for now as well. So something else that I noticed that's wrong is that here, I wanted to make the breadcrumbs, but I also know if I added breadcrumbs, it actually wouldn't work because it's going to show the course link for the archive page. And I don't want to go to the archive page. I want them to go to the all courses page. So I use the metadata widget, which I'll show everyone what it looks like. If I go to single, post info here, it's this widget, post info under single. It's the same one I was modifying over here, except I turned off the icons. See, icons none, icons none. And I faked it by saying custom, home. I added the home URL, custom, all courses, the course URL. And then I went to the last one and I wrote custom fields and I wrote post term. So what the post term is that's the custom category of the course. Right now it's set to free. We need to change that. So let's go over here to course category. It's set to free. We should change that to paid. Update. Come over here, refresh this page. Now it's paid. So now we have fake functional breadcrumbs that also takes us back to our sales page. Cool. So let's keep going. I wanted to have an excerpt. Now there is an excerpt in the system. There's probably ways to do this, and I have written my own shortcodes with LearnDash data to make this work. Again, I just wanted to make today's demo work using the tools I had without doing custom code. So I wanted to leverage, just so everyone can see, the shortcode here, this smaller text is sort of like short description that's set in the excerpt. I wanted to use that, but I couldn't quite figure it out. So I used custom field, called it course, call to action. And then here, I set course, call to action. It's just text. I'll show everyone again. So I went over here. I got my common basic widget. It's just a text widget. Pasted it in. Or dragged it in, not pasted it in. And I told it to be dynamic. So I clicked on the little pencil icon, dynamic tag in the top, and then I told it to use the custom post, custom fields again, and then of course call to action. Then I went in and styled it. Just like any other thing in Elementor, you have the fantastic ability to style everything, play with the line heights, the color. So again, change it to white. Made sure that the line height's a little tighter because default's a little off. I like 1.6 to 1.4 depending on what I'm doing. And then we should be good there. And that's dynamic. Now I'm going to delete this because it's the same, but now you know how you can extend your header yourself. And the same thing here, so everyone can see that. How I made the header is I went to the basic info, grabbed header, pasted it in, said it was the dynamic header, post title, and then I styled it. So you can do that. And I believe you can also just do post title and style it. And then down here is the basic meta, what it's used for. If this was the WooCommerce one, I would definitely be using these for more upsells, wish list, reviews, things like that. I did want to add buttons here, and the only buttons I could really find that fit well with the default widgets were the social. I think it works well. If you were not adding a whole nother shopping cart to your system, I think that's a great use of space because we're going to have the sidebar is fixed. So what's next? Oh, okay. The next issue I ran into is we already talked about how to make the sidebar stick to the top. I'm sorry, pull up to the top. Now we didn't go over how to make it sticky. There's a trick to that. If you just put a column in and you put something into the column, you can make that first thing sticky. You cannot make the whole column sticky, but what you can do is you can put a nested column inside a column and then add all your elements to that and make that sticky. So let me actually go over that. So if we look at the inner selector here, and we can see that there's two columns. What I would do is I would select my inner selector and I would paste it in. I'll just paste it wherever it's going to let me because I don't want to fight with it during a demo. And then I would come in and I would delete one of them. So now I just have a single column inside a column. That's what this row is. And once I have that single column inside a column, I can click on its main handle, go to Advanced, Motion Effects, Sticky, Top. Now, just so everyone can see this working, let me go ahead and add something to this. And if we scroll, that's now stuck to the top. Now, earlier when I said everyone should probably invest in a couple add-ons, there are some other sticky widgets that would help. To show everyone what I'm talking about is there's others that you can turn off and on. Right now, this is just on or off at the very top. So we do have that slight problem. If you had a smaller footer, if you made more margin under here, you can find other ways to make this not overlap, but using the default widgets without experimenting with other add-ons, that you are a little limited without writing your own JavaScript to turn this feature off, but we get you pretty far. So I think that's cool. Let's look at the video. Again, the video works in the course grid. I could not get the video shortcode to work, so we're going to look into that. I don't know why, but since I couldn't get it to work, I was like, well, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to throw in a shortcode. So not a shortcode, another custom field. So I made a course video source, pasted the same URL in that I'm using for my actual course video, and then I came over here to the video widget, which is, type video, it's this one right here. I'm just going to throw stuff in this for testing. We're going to delete it. I clicked dynamic, custom fields, video source. Now we had the video working. So I didn't have to worry about that anymore. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. Next up was this, the call to action, the price here. Now I could probably, like I said, we could probably write some shortcode or do some coding to pull out the default features from LearnDash. Again, I was just trying to use the tools at hand, and so I made another one called course price. Same way, started styling it. And this time I included our shortcode to the LearnDash payment buttons. So this will print out any of the payment buttons based off the default gateway that you currently have set up, and it'll print them out here. As you can see on my screen, we get that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this course, because in this window, I'm actually logged in. So on the left screen, I am in an incognito, not logged in. On the right screen, I am logged in and enrolled in the course. You can use more shortcodes to hide and show things. So right now it says the course and 30-day money back guarantee, but no button. The button shows up and hides on its own if you've already enrolled. But we'll take a little bit, a little look down here. I'm actually going to load the course up in Elementor 2. So you can see now the top is yellow and the body is blue, where I can edit this, I cannot edit that. If I did click this, it would reload the page and let me edit that, but we're not going to. As you can see here, I have some shortcodes. They're just shortcode blocks. This one's for visitors. Visitors would see this one. Anyone who's a student would see this one. If you're enrolled in the course but not started, you would see this one. If the course is in progress, you would see this one. And if the course is complete, you would see this. Now, there is a weird gap because all of these are having spaces. I could have put them a little closer together, and I can get rid of those spacing if I wanted. This is just how Elementor is rendering these, and it was the purpose of the demo. I probably would do these differently, and I would leverage them differently. But you can still wrap these same shortcodes around different things like the money back guarantee or even the price, so they're not showing up when someone's already enrolled. And this, just so we can see this, that we're here, this is just the entire row that I have colored. So this isn't anything special. I just added a border around the whole container, and I added a background color, and then I nested two more. So we had the title on top, and then the side-by-side list elements. I like these because they let you set the icon. These are SVG icons, and you can set the color of all of them, and they can be different. So if you were comparing like left to right, this can be check marks or X's depending on what the check list is or whatever the list is you're comparing. But you have the global styles ability and space between. We can come in here and change the spacing. We can make this like 15. Let's go ahead and do that over here too, because that looks nicer. A little more breathing room. Hit update. Yeah, you would need to buy Elementor Pro, not for the little stuff, but you would, and not for this. Everything you see in the body right here, you would not need Elementor for, Elementor Pro. The header stuff, the other widgets, you would. So the unique LearnDash Elementor widgets, you do need Elementor Pro. To use Elementor to modify or customize your courses, lessons, topics, like the content, the actual post content, this area right here, you do not. So a couple more things. I just added a button here and linked it off to the contact page. I thought this was a nice upsell, like, oh, if you're not happy or have any questions, reach out. So add a little button, have it, linking off. I like to make secondary buttons personally. I like to make them clear or outlined or more of a link, because the real call to action is to buy the course. If I had more time, I would probably make this button bigger, look into the classes, style this a little bit more, but I didn't want to modify too much of that. What else do we have? And then I added the author down at the bottom. I thought this was a nice touch. I also, if I included comments, I turned comments on. I turned them on in the template, but I didn't enable them in the post. You could also have comments showing underneath here about people actually using it. When we do the WooCommerce version, I actually want to use real reviews and show those, because I think that would be really cool, showing other users that these are paying true customers who bought it and this is their feedback. And we can show star ratings, leveraging all the WooCommerce stuff that way. That'll be a lot of fun. And there's also a lot of other things that we can go over. I know I'm getting close to the hour mark, but I want to just show everyone a quick sneak peek of something else that I did. I started to style more things, but I felt like we only have 45 minutes here, so let's not go crazy. But I did start to style a topic page, an actual lesson page, lessons, because I was trying to recreate focus mode, thinking about someone who might read right to left instead of left to right. And then I was trying to add an upsell area. So I only got about, I would say, about 30 minutes into this, and this is how far I got. Thought that was pretty cool. I did run into some flow issues and trying to figure out how to make everything work in this layout. It's definitely something I can spend an entire hour on once we fully flush it out. So that's a lot to go over today. Be happy to go answer any questions anyone might have. I know that's a lot. I will definitely be posting notes into the Facebook group. I will be around to answer any questions as well. So yeah, maybe we can answer some questions.
Yeah, thanks, James. I just want to say that that's super cool, super interesting. I think something that we've been seeing a lot of people message us on is they are interested in this template. And I know you kind of alluded to the fact that you would try to find a way to make that available. Obviously, we don't know timelines on that. And you only spent 3 hours, so you didn't really put this through QA. I think I
Yeah,
would love for folks to have it. I'm sure you would too, but we also know that, you know, if we supply something and there's questions on it and if something's not working right, then we don't want you guys to be stuck either. So what are your thoughts on that, on supplying the template, or is that something that you would consider?
I did not check it for mobile. So like let's see what it does. You know, it could use some spacing, and then the fix is a little messed up. So I would be fine releasing it with no support, but if I could spend some time on it, I bet I could release it Monday with the issues fixed and feel comfortable releasing it. And it would just be an export through the template. So let's go ahead and look how that would work in case anyone else wants to share templates with each other. So we'll go over to the dashboard. We go to templates. Theme builder. And we should be able to just export them, I believe. Yeah. So we should be able to just hit, select them all, export, and go. Yeah.
You should you shouldn't have said the date because people are gonna
All right.
hold you to it on that Monday, but it might not be on Monday.
No,
But
let's not. That's okay. But yeah, let's take that back. We'll edit that out of the release in case it gets posted. But I want to make sure it's debugged so everyone can have a chance
yeah.
to use it for real.
If you're in this webinar, chances are you probably are in our Facebook group. James will communicate in there, I believe, when it's available. We'll make sure people know about it and link to this recording. So it's really cool. I know people are really excited about this. And I think it demonstrates what's possible with just using Elementor. Okay, yeah, you have to invest in Elementor Pro, but then you can just use like the custom fields tricks and all that. That's really cool. You don't have to worry about coding.
Yeah, yeah. And I was really excited about this, and I've been working on it all evening and in morning. So this was the first time I got to actually run through it all. So yeah, there's a lot here. I'm more than happy to answer some questions. If I was confusing to anyone, I'd be happy to clear it up because this is a really cool feature, leveraging the dynamic content in the custom fields. Now you will have to set that on all your posts, or your templates are going to look weird because I did set this up for a giant, to be used on every course, not just one course. But you could, let's look at that because I did talk about that earlier and I said we would review it. I want to show the conditional logic options tied to the, but is there any other questions?
Yeah, there's one question as you navigate there. I think I can answer this, but you can expand if needed. Is all this Elementor integration and the templates that you're creating, they're leveraging the new 3.0 template and styling and those elements that we have from the LearnDash 3.0 release. And they're wondering if that can apply to the legacy templates. I don't think so. I think it's 3.0 going forward. We have the legacy templates in place for folks that maybe just preferred that, but they're legacy for a reason. We're just supplying them. But this integration, I know, will work with the 3.0 templates. James, I don't know if you tried to tinker with the legacy templates with this integration.
So I'll explain a little bit. You're right. Also, you have to turn off focus mode though, because you're technically recreating focus mode. So you would only be using this. I think focus mode is great. In fact, I don't want to sound like I'm talking negative about LearnDash and Elementor at all. I honestly I wouldn't mess with focus mode because it's really well. Now I was playing with that version because I was trying to do a left to right version and I was like, oh, let's add some ads underneath it just for demonstration purposes. But you do technically have to turn focus mode off so you can then overwrite the container. But if you just want to use LearnDash and use these widgets in the content, you'd be fine. And for courses, because it doesn't use focus mode, it works fine. But yeah, I would probably try to avoid the legacy templates. Use the new templates, but turn focus mode off.
Perfect.
if you want to do that. I like focus mode. Yeah, okay, you can see my screen. I have it including courses, and I can turn that one off, and I can say, well, I only want it to show up in the course category of free or whatever I want. Or I can set this to a tag, or I can say, I want this to be in a child category, or I want all the authors of James to look this way. So using these conditional statements, you can make templates for whatever course and however you want. And it's a really powerful tool.
Okay, so I know we're a little bit over time, and I think we're going to have, well, I'm sure we're going to have follow-ups to this webinar, just demonstrating what you can do with this integration, and in particular with WooCommerce. I know there was interest when you mentioned the WooCommerce component and how you could leverage WooCommerce and LearnDash and this new integration in Elementor. So, James, thanks a ton for this. I guess exciting webinar and I love the template. I'm really, really excited about it. When you showed that to me today, it was, I think I knew people would love it. So if you have any questions, everybody post in our Facebook group. You can post as a follow-up comment on this webinar announcement. You can just post a new comment if you'd like, something that you want to see us do, or see James do, I should say, in the next webinar related to this. We're happy to start a series related to customizing and creating custom templates in LearnDash, leveraging Elementor and the new integration. But with that said, want to give everybody their day back. And thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Hi, everyone.